Well, I was clearly in the middle of focusing and writing things, and I'm being asked
Upset about lime Coke, David, is the issue. It's really the issue.
Someone's upset about lime Coke.
Yeah, they stopped making it.
Well,
Cream soda.
Cream soda's fine.
It's far superior than lime Coke, though.
No, absolutely not. You're just wrong. That's fine. You can be. It just is wrong. It's not an opinion matter. This is like a factual thing. Have you had Verner's, Ryan?
Burners.
It's like a ginger ale, but it's like
It's
it's something.
It's like old people ginger ale.
It's something. I actually kind of like it occasionally. Yeah, I don't know if I would drink it on the regular, but every once in a while, it fucking hits hard.
It claps the cheeks.
Ryan, on the show today, we're not talking about Verner's and cheek clapping.
Rainbow.
I have we because I speak on behalf of both of us.
Of course,
we have an apology to make, Ryan.
What, David? What did we do wrong?
We incidentally, and you did this unknowingly, we incidentally clickbaited our audience yesterday. I didn't mean to do this. The episode yesterday was supposed to be
this
about
fucking Texas guy is following us. This Texas guy is following us.
Is he a Jew?
I'm being followed.
Is he one of the Jews?
He has a Tesla key badge. Listen,
Tesla.
He has a Tesla key badge. Okay, he's at the laundromat now. He was at Gabe's, which is shares a plaza. David, clearly, he's following me.
It's gonna self implode in 10 seconds anyway. It's fine.
GMC Sierra. He talks with an accent, but a woman's purse.
Is it Texas or Tesla? Because I've heard both.
Texas, but he has a Tesla key badge, like a Tesla lanyard, key badge, like a lanyard with a badge of some kind.
And then he drives
a GMC with a Texas license plate.
Interesting. Right, we clickbaited our audience yesterday. The episode yesterday was named after one specific clip I was going to play, and then we never got to it.
And what clip is that, David? Clearly,
it was. Well, it was a Trump clip speaking about Obama, and I guess it works out better because now we're going to play that clip and then a follow-up, longer miniature press conference, I would say, with Tulsi Gabbard about the story that broke, a story that you would basically know if you watched our show anyway. So we're gonna have to get into that because that's not really what this show's about. But then we're gonna have to get into what this show's about also, and then there's about 100 other things. So we'll see how we go here, Ryan.
Sam and Eve got to make their own program at this point.
We should. It would be way better. Shots fired.
They would.
Yeah. Look. If I would love,
he would make more of a YouTube program.
A low cut shirt goes a long way. Okay, I agree with you.
I told David, okay, I like cosplaying. Imagine if I just cosplayed in the show Boo. Like, come on, we would make so much money.
I'm out on that.
And then just ASMR.
I'm out on that. For the record, I'd be out.
Did you see the porn star ASMR on YouTube yet, David? Have you seen it?
No, I don't watch YouTube, Ryan. We use Rumble. I'm a Rumble Premium member.
Oh, there's Premium Rumble. Fucking
only Rumble. We're on YouTube currently. Sorry, but I don't really care if that stops. You know what's interesting too about this? We're gonna do it again. We're gonna literally clickbait our audience again. What's interesting about YouTube? Do you remember for a while there, and it seems cyclical, and I can pinpoint the cycles. All of our videos were getting banned or blocked or copyright struck or taken down or the stream was go black or any of this stuff. For a while, these things would happen frequently. And we haven't had that happen in quite some time. But that happened in the past too, where it would happen a lot and then it would stop happening. Now, the answer to me is obvious because the algorithm and all the AI tools and everything they use to take down videos is the same. It's the same stuff. All of it's all there. Like they don't take it down. They don't take it down for the summer and put it back up for the winter.
They don't have a winter algorithm, David, that is curated for Christmas time.
No. But what they do have is an election algorithm.
Interesting theory you have here, David.
I don't know if anyone's made this specific claim yet, or if they have any way to prove this claim, but I would love to see like mass data pulled on this. I guarantee you, if you were to pull mass data for right wing or conservative news channels on YouTube, you can specifically. This is rattly. Stop rattling. It's rattling against the bill, and he's sitting on Capitol Hill. You could specifically see this, and I guarantee it. During election season, you would watch these channels have hundreds of % increases in their content being taken down. And then we would be told it's a coincidence. I would love to see somebody pull that data. Maybe we could have AI pull that data. Maybe I'm going to write that down. Maybe we can have AI do that, right? AI is at our fingertips. Why not use it?
Well, David, clearly, if you use it like me and 0.000000005% of the population, you would do that.
AI, YouTube, strikes, gone channels. I'm gonna look into that. There has to be some metric or some way to pull that information. I don't think it's necessarily public information, but I don't think it's necessarily private either, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to talk
about.
Well,
when you kind of go off like ads, like ad revenue or ad searches or Google
ad revenue is tough because that is private.
But the Google search data isn't.
No, that's true. And you could try to look at YouTube searches but that's even a different thing. That's like YouTube actively.
But couldn't you track the number of views of a video over time? I do know they do have metrics of that.
I do. You can do views, but the issue I have with views is it's not. I mean, if you see it,
indicative of growth.
Yeah, correct. I mean, if you see a trend, then maybe there's something there. But if you specifically look for content that was struck down, that's something that's actively being done to a channel by YouTube. I think that's the metric you want to pull.
Like us.
Because I know for us specifically, but like, okay, now everybody. Let me see does everybody go through this? Is everybody seeing during election season their videos get struck? Now that
Trump is in power, you mean?
Well, like it's either Trump is in power or the fact that I don't want to say our words don't have sway, because you can always sway the culture and things like that. But you're not necessarily swaying an election through your words. You're not changing opinions at the time when the opinions most matter or are most critical.
The gatekeepers,
in theory.
The gatekeepers.
Yes.
So, do you think there's no way that you can organically break the algorithm?
No, I don't think that's true.
Well, you haven't thought about it because AI didn't think about anything until it met me, for example.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, you could try to look at like shadow banning, but that's, again, it's in the shadows for a reason. It's kind of a hard thing to track. That's why I want like strikes, because I think that's a very hard number. Like, it is a strike or it is not a strike. I don't need because views is kind of gray. There could be a reason why certain views are down. Maybe they made less videos or maybe whatever. Like, there could be 100 different reasons why views are down. They didn't advertise as much. You could have a bunch of reasons why views are down. You could have a bunch of reasons why maybe they weren't popping up in the algorithm as much. Maybe something else was trending and they weren't hitting the trending topics. Like, there's so many different variables, but like a strike is like a hard figure. It is black and white. You either did or you did not strike something. It'd be interesting to see. But we have to talk about Trump, Obama, because that was supposed to be yesterday's episode, and whoops. We have to talk about federal judge blocking grand jury testimonies from an Epstein case. That's today's episode, so we really should talk about that one, because I don't want to do two clickbaits unintentionally or intentionally in the same week, Ryan. The Tulsi presser is part of the Trump and Obama comments. RFK Jr. came out and was talking about live organ harvesting. This is something that's kind of interesting. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Wall Street Journal dropped a report that the Justice Department told Trump in May that he was all over the Epstein files. Uber girls. We're gonna have to talk about Uber girls. French President Macron is suing Candace Owens
It's official?
Yes, it's official for defamation because she was calling his male wife a man. Biden administration had a migrant children hotline that was understaffed to a level that has to be planned. And China bans OnlyFans. Ryan, what would you like to get to first? And then keep in mind two things specifically we probably should talk about because we didn't.
Do the things we should have talked about.
Okay, so we're going to play the Trump clip followed by a Tulsi presser.
And then I want Trump Epstein.
Yeah, and then we'll do yeah.
And then what was the one thing that live harvesting organs.
Live harvesting organs for sure.
And then we'll round out from there.
Yeah, we'll and then we'll just figure it out.
Because we do it live.
Hold on, fuck it, we do it live. Ryan, give me I gotta scroll a lot to find this, so I need coverage.
Well, see, if you look clearly over David's face, I'm going to place an ad bubble right here in front of his face, so you can scan that. My personal website. You can buy my new book on how you can grow your YouTube channel.
You don't have those type of producer capabilities, Ryan. That's a skill set that only I have.
One of these days, Dave, I'm going to have Gronk plugged into my Gronk, and we're going to Gronkify some shit, dude.
Okay.
Listen, Winston Churchill, Oval Office. Golden toilet. I golden tie.
He's that's a pretty extreme. What is that face? This is Trump responding, just to lay the groundwork again. Trump responding to the report that Tulsi Gabbard put out that Barack Obama was very much attached to Russia collusion hoax, Russian election interference hoax, which are both hoaxes. By definition. And this is Trump responding to that report. And I'd love to get into the Russia election hoax a little bit more too, because we always said that was the most ridiculous thing that anybody had ever stated. So here's Trump responding to Barack Obama from a Tulsi Gabbard report.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
So
he stole the 2020 election.
I think one incredible takeaway from this is Trump specifically uses the word treason. That is one of the highest crimes, Ryan.
Pretty sure it's the highest crime, David.
It is a high crime of sorts. Also in a very he states it in a very Trump way. Because if I personally had thought somebody committed treason, I would be very angry about it, and I would say it bluntly. But Trump has a very certain way about him. He's like, he committed treason among other acts and other things. It's like
even worse than treason.
Some other words could come into play in what was committed.
The papers say it, not me.
So that's a big claim. Because as we know, Ryan, of the many punishments for treason, death is amongst them. I'm not, for the record, I don't expect this to go anywhere at all. Why? Because I have no confidence. Why would I? We've been talking about Epstein for 2 weeks. Do you really think President Obama's going to go to jail? Think he's going to get hung publicly over this by the Trump administration that promised for 6 months during an election cycle that they were going to release Epstein files? Do you still have high hopes in this?
And then when you're in power, you say, I can't release them, and then we do release them. And then you say they're going to be unedited, and they're edited.
We got the full tape, completely unedited. Which tape?
Except-
the one that was erased and or the cameras weren't working? Because remember, the cameras weren't working, but then they said they were working, but then the tape was erased. And then they miraculously found them, and they said, well, they're completely unedited. And then the report comes out that says, well, they were edited multiple times and in some Adobe software, and like 3 minutes is missing. Oh, so by completely unedited raw footage, what you mean is we're going to get completely edited unraw and missing footage. Perfect. Love it.
Staged footage.
And then why even set yourself up for failure? If you're like Cash Patel or Dan Bongino, why set yourself up for failure for that? Just say that. Just stick with the original story. That nobody believed it anyway. But this is worse. The original story was the cameras glitched or the footage got erased, and they just said, "Yeah, we looked through the file. There's no footage." You set yourself up for worse.
Yeah, it's like with the black guy yesterday getting beat up for fucking having his lights off.
Resisting because it was cloudy and he didn't have his headlights on.
I would so resist arrest too, dude. Go ahead. I'm suing the fuck out of you. Punch me in the face. That guy punched him so hard in the face too, and he just took it. It's such a... Tulsi Gabbard looks like Rogue from X-Men.
Because of the streak?
I mean, the whole
I don't know. Do you think that's a natural streak? She's had it for like a long time, or did she just keep it going? Because people can get like a natural streak in their hair.
What's it called? Scandinavian highlights?
No, I know yours is fake, but is that like a real thing?
Yeah, money piece.
Money piece? That's a real word.
Scandinavian hairline.
I don't know about that. It's just called money piece.
Money piece. Yeah, but naturally.
Going gray.
I don't think it's gray though, because it was like, is it gray?
Yeah.
Well, that streak's gray. I thought it was blonde at one point though, or was it always gray and she dyed it blonde when she was younger? Is this the?
People can get birthmarks and the hair is a different color on it.
Should we grok this?
Yeah, I'm not kidding about
this.
That.
This is the important, hard-hitting information. There's a 10-minute press conference that we got to get to, but I am legitimately curious. Is the streak in her hair real?
Look up birthmark hair streak.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll
ask Gronk. What's up with the two different color in Tulsi Gabbard's hair?
Is Tulsi Gabbard's hair streak natural? AI will inform us of the answer, even if they have to. Tulsi Gabbard's hair streak is natural. She stated that the gray streak appeared during her first deployment in Iraq in 2004 with the Hawaii Army National Guard. Gabbard chose to keep it undyed as a reminder of the cost of war and importance of peace.
That sounds very deep.
G.
Yeah, I wonder if she breaks ChatGPT.
Mine's just because I like having gray hair.
And you refer to yours as a money piece? Yeah, I think like men wouldn't refer to that as a money piece.
That's what it's called.
Like of all the things you could look at and say money piece,
that's what it's called.
The fake hair streak is not the one we would refer to.
I didn't name it, buddy. Okay.
Oh, right. We had a press conference to get to. Ryan, press conference, Tulsi Gabbard. We probably won't listen.
Women get bitter about other women. It's hilarious.
Why? Who?
That's. Ooh. I'm just gay, so leave me alone.
I wish I had a natural hair streak like that instead of.
Well, you should have went to the Iraq War in 2004.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? You should have bought a house in 1997.
Like 9 years old then. Thank you.
You should have bought a house in 1997.
Deploy, dude. Kids get in war all the time now. Have you ever even read about the Middle East? I mean, usually they're getting bombed.
Yeah, Children Crusades, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. Ryan, here's Tulsi Gabbard now digging deeper into the report
They
and publicly.
They have a Venn diagram?
They kind of have like the conspiracy, like the guys with the bulletin boards and the and like the string. Did you ever see those where they're like trying to like piece everything together?
Yeah, it's been a meme for 20 years, David.
Yeah,
clearly the internet didn't win again.
Here's natural streak, money piece, Tulsi.
Findings from the House Intelligence Report,
Money Piece Gabbard,
which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election.
Okay, that's important. And in fact, that almost indicates the opposite. Because what we were told about the 2016 election is that Russia interfered in the election specifically to get Donald Trump elected, because Donald Trump, the narrative they moved forward with was Donald Trump was the puppet of Putin.
Yeah, and isn't that in their playbook, Rules for Radicals from Lewinsky, David?
Accuse others exactly
of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep, the guy literally trained Hillary Clinton at a political philosophy level.
So what is the truth? According to Tulsi Gabbard in this report, actually, Russians could have very easily leaked information about Hillary Clinton that would have been very good for the Trump administration, but they chose not to. That would indicate that maybe they weren't trying to steal the election, because if you had that kind of information, certainly you would have leaked it.
Instead, planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information.
Remember how likely it was, Ryan. Everyone in the world thought it was likely.
Woke up the next morning, David, 99% chance Trump loses. Woke up that morning. I remember it.
People went into that election like almost just assuming Hillary Clinton won.
Crazy. Crazy, Dave. This is the year I started streaming.
And why wouldn't Russia believe that, right? If that was the foregone conclusion that everyone just accepted.
That Russia and Putin had, on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC.
That right there sounds like election interference. I mean, maybe that's a light definition, but I don't know what else you would call that.
It's crazy. In America.
That was did I misunderstand that?
No.
They were paying their employees to publicly support the Clinton administration. Is that not what she just said?
Yeah. $50,000 in Facebook ads,
Yeah, we're gonna get to that a little bit more too. I don't know if she mentions that in this, because I've not seen all this. But we talked about this in the past. If let's assume this is correct, okay? Assume everybody buys this narrative, because this is what they told everyone, that Russia stole the election with $50,000 in Facebook ads. If you break that down logically, the amount of money that is spent on elections every election cycle, if 50K in social media ads swung it, which by the way, we did like the math one time, and you couldn't buy 1,000 likes on a Facebook post for 50K. Like, you're not going to sway an election with $50,000. It just doesn't. It just won't do it. And if you could, why wouldn't everybody do it? They're spending millions anyway. They're not going to put the money into it. Was the Russian ads just way more effective? Did the Clinton campaign did they not do social media ads? There's just so many things about it that don't make sense. This is why you need to just think logically in a lot of situations, because it would just completely fall apart. The theory of it in general would fall on its face.
Mm-hmm.
Emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by
So she's saying that the idea that Trump was a Russian puppet, in fact, came from our own federal government, which would have been the Obama administration at that point, because this was 2016.
referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess, quote unquote, Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were, quote unquote, planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the US election.
So, regardless of how you even feel about that, the fact whether or not you think Russia could affect our election isn't relevant, because what they're saying is the idea that Russia did affect our election came from within. It came from our own government. Again, this would be the Obama administration at this time. So now you have to try to figure out, is it separate individuals acting as a group, or are they being led by somebody? Now this is where Obama comes into play, because what they're getting at is that Obama actually led this conspiracy against Donald Trump.
On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency.
I'm assuming this is the September before the election.
Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts.
Okay, now this is December after the election. So September before the election, intelligence agencies confirm absolutely not. Russia is not planning to steal the election. There's not going to be any issue here. December after the election, they're stating very blatantly that Russia did not, in fact, steal the election. So a month before, 2 months before, and a month after the election.
This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to, quote unquote, new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request.
So he presumably had the information, didn't like it, and requested a new piece of information. That's.
Are we surprised?
Well, no, we're not. There are people in the world that are surprised to hear this.
Tucker Carlson, I'm sure, is one of them.
He literally said on Rogan, Tucker Carlson literally said, like, the thing that changed my worldview is when I found out that the Obama White House tapping Trump turned out to be true. Favorite phrase. That was what switched Tucker Carlson. Like, holy shit, if that's true, then what else is true? And then he went on this journey of
aliens.
Where he's at right now, yeah, interdimensional aliens and shit, but spiritual aliens. One thing can really change a man.
The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This
People
is not
familiar with the matter.
It's just like they had 51 intelligence agencies. What was the number? I don't even remember the exact number, but it was like 51 former intelligence people say. It's like, oh, it's 83 Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, it's because you're you're cherry picking the people you want. That it's like when you Google search things like, am I right about? It's like, no, that's not how you Google search the information, because you're just trying to confirm what you already know. Confirmation bias. That's what this is. This is confirmation bias. Find me 5 analysts who believe what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. The government handpicking the winners, David.
That's what this is. This is just finding the people who make you look good. Well, 17 former intelligence agency officials. Yeah, because you picked 17 of them. How many former Nobel Peace Prize winners were there, Ryan?
Like 98 other ones you didn't.
Like a lot more. So less than half of them believe in.
It was like 7 out of 98.
In the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community. The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote unquote, unclear or from unknown sources.
So the Obama administration specifically used knowingly unverifiable sources to start to create a narrative. And this is the thing. This is how this happens, because this is the game plan, right? So you create a narrative based on, you've talked about this in the past too, based on unspecified sources, and then since you have 90% of the playing field, you'll have a CNN report on an NPR report that was based on the original report, which came from the government, which used unverifiable sources. But now the source is the government, and the NPR report sources the government. Well, NPR talked to the government specifically, and the government said this was the case. And then CNN uses NPR and the government as sources to this article that they're reporting. And now MSNBC comes in and says, well, CNN reported, and they're going to have CNN as a source and NPR as a source and the government as a source. So it literally all stems from one completely unverifiable story, and then it ends up being a completely sourced. Now you have somebody who has 10 different sources, which really stem down to one source.
Yep.
And then it looks like, well, our reporting is we have the best reporting because we have
There's 85 documents here that say that it's a Russian collusion. And then by the time you hear one, this is John Lennon's phrase, that by the time the truth gets its shoes on, the lies made us halfway around the world. Like, you're not going to outbeat 84 articles. No matter how good the one information is.
And then what? And then even further than that, then like New York Post will have an article saying like, yeah, we weren't able to corroborate the story. And then when somebody like us talks about that NY Post article, now it's misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, and it must be removed from social media.
Mm-hmm.
This is the game that they play. This is the gatekeeper mentality. Not only do they create the information, but then they rely on their own created information and then treat that like that's the standard.
Well, I mean, this is kind of like the whole angle of the Ministry of Truth, ain't it? There's a reason it's a pyramid, because like the information comes from above anyways. You know, like really if they're just continually self-sorting, isn't it just like it's crabs in a bucket and they're all just pulling each other to the top anyways?
So media relies on an information Ponzi scheme, basically.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. It's the same thing with the science study, trust all science. Well, where's the scientists get their study from? Well, the government and private donations. Okay, who donated to the sugar study? Well, the sugar lobby, the sugar industry. Okay, so the sugar industry has paid for the study to study sugar from scientists at a lab that's funded by the government.
Yeah, but that study found that really sugar's not that bad for you. But then if you have like if you have like 3 independent studies, they all show the sugar is bad, but they're going to reference the sugar study, and they're going to say, well, that was the best study because that used all the highest standards of
the
testing.
Same standards blah, used blah, blah. For cigarettes, David?
Sure. Well, yeah. Yeah, this is I mean, this is pretty bad. I mean, this is some high level shit.
Like treason, no worries.
In other words, of course. So I don't.
It's no COVID or 9/11, David. But I
don't think we need to watch the whole thing. I definitely recommend everyone goes watch the whole thing. But and again, this isn't particularly surprising to us. I mean, this is stuff we've talked about to some degree. I mean, there's more depth to this, but the concept of it certainly shouldn't be new to anybody. Epstein?
Of course.
So a couple things. One, this is a Wall Street Journal article, which could have come from a government source and 17 other sources that came off the government source. But Wall Street Journal says that the Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Apparently, Pam Bondi also told President at the meeting that the Justice Department decided to not release more Jeffrey Epstein documents because of the presence of child pornography and the need to protect victims. And nothing says protecting victims quite like burying a global pedophile ring.
You have to get rid of that illegal El Salvadorian that's here to better his family, David, though, and you got to take him back and send him to a concentration camp at the border.
Well, that seems like the best way to move forward, Ryan. Now, I'll pair this story with that story, and this is from New York Times, but a federal judge in Florida denied a Trump administration request to release grand jury transcripts from an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I'll say this.
This sounds have to be leaked, man. It's not going to be able to be released legally.
Well, here's the thing. That sounds really bad, right? Because it seems like more of a cover up, because now there's also a federal judge, which is I believe this was if I read it correctly, I believe it was a Biden appointed judge. But he rejected the release of these transcripts. Now, with that said, if what Pam Bondi has said in the past is true, such as things like we have thousands of hours of footage and I have the client list on my desk and all these things that she has said in the past, if all that is true and they have that information, why are you requesting grand jury transcripts from an investigation? If you have your own information, why are you requesting new information on information you should already have? And the answer is because they want the story that a federal judge blocked the request, because now they get to deflect and say, we're trying to get these released, and now a Biden judge is shutting us down. Pam Bondi, you said you had tens of thousands of hours of footage. You said the Epstein list was on your desk. And then we were told the Epstein list didn't exist. And now they backpedaled and said, well, we're going to look into it and we're going to try to release information. So now I'm going to tell a federal judge that they have to release grand jury transcripts. Did you have the information or did you not have the information? Was the list on your desk or does it not exist? If it does not exist and there is no information, why are you requesting this information from a grand jury in Florida?
And if there's no list, why would he kill himself?
If there's no list, why would he kill himself?
Is Ghislaine in jail?
It's so the story, the official story that the government wants us to believe at this time is that Jeffrey Epstein acted essentially alone with the help of Ghislaine Maxwell. They acted as a pair and a pair only. Epstein had clients, but they were only his financial clients. And all this child pornography stuff, the tens of thousands of hours, that was only Epstein alone acting with young underage girls. And they won't release any of that footage because it's child pornography and they want to protect victims. And the list doesn't exist because it's just a list of clients that are his financial clients and it has nothing to do with these crimes. And then the flight logs don't matter because maybe he conducted business on his island and all these people are just clear of crimes. And Ghislaine Maxwell is only in jail because she was sex trafficking people for Epstein to Epstein, I guess. Seems like a very convoluted story.
It's exhausting, actually. Like, to try to keep up with these people. They're so good at, like, the smoke and mirrors. You're like, you just lied to me 3 times.
I don't know if that could be a play. Maybe the play is we just lie so much nobody can even follow it anymore. We've lied so much no one can follow the lies.
When Lucifer runs the world, David, everything is upside down. What's the story that I want to talk about that you had?
Well, there was a couple things here. There was living organ harvesting.
Yes, that.
And then there's the Macron suing Candace Owens. We could get into too a little bit.
All right, smoke Candace, and then we'll do the organs.
Wait, you want Candace then organs?
Yeah.
Okay. French President Emmanuel Macron has officially sued Candace Owens for saying his wife Bridget was born a man. Macron accuses Owens of publishing outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions that fueled campaigns of global humiliation and relentless bullying. It's a 215-page lawsuit filed in Delaware. At some point, and I don't know why they have this in here. I saw something, one of the screenshots from one of the pages said something specifically that she is open to this lawsuit because specifically Candace Owens' husband is British, which makes Candace Owens partially she's a British citizen also because of her husband, which I don't know that to be true, but because of that, I guess that opens her up to the lawsuit, even though the lawsuit's being filed in Delaware. Also, I think Candace Owens lives in Tennessee, so none of this makes sense.
First, they destroy your reputation and character, assassinate you. Then they try to put you in jail. And then they kill you. Having a tape. Candace Owens and Tate are friends. If you guys don't know that. Interesting story, David.
Everyone's saying the same thing on this, and I can't help but admit I would love to see this. Everyone's saying the discovery in the case is going to be just absolute crazy. Because you do have to prove things are defamatory when you make a lawsuit of that type. You can't just say something is defamatory, then the onus is now on you to prove it's defamatory. So basically, in this case, they're going to have to prove that Bridget Macron is in fact a female.
Well, then it goes on to, like, what is a woman then?
Well, it depends what judge you ask, because one of our Supreme Court justices was asked that specifically, and she couldn't answer it, so that's good.
So was the director of biology or whatever it was.
But I'll say this. I don't know if this is possible, but if I'm Candace Owens, and the only reason they can sue me is because I'm a British citizen.
Divorce?
No, just denounce your citizenship. I'm not a citizen anymore. I'm sure there's a legal process you have to go through. It's not as simple as it's like The Office. I declare bankruptcy. It's like that's not how that works.
Well, this goes further. Can I just denounce my citizenship forever? Can I just be like, I'm my own citizen and then like go live in the res or something?
That is a thing. Is it the sovereign citizens or whatever? That's a group. That's a real thing. You can do that. Hold on. Let me look this up. But yeah, I mean, if you just revoke your British, like, now what? How are you going to sue me in my own country because I used free speech? My own government can't sue me in my country because I used free speech. It's aside from Alex Jones. Becoming a sovereign citizen is not a legally recognized or accepted concept. It's a belief system held by a fringe movement. I don't think that's entirely true, to be honest with you, because I do know one specifically, and you literally can revoke your own citizenship. Common law citizenship, straw man concept, rejection behavior. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We could probably get into it one time, but I think the whole premise of it is that, like, when they say it's not a real thing, you still do have to act within the bounds of our laws because you are living in the country that you claim to not be a citizen of. For example, you can't be an illegal immigrant and come here and commit crimes. That's still illegal.
All right. So organ harvesting.
This is early on, and I just saw this, so we'll see how this goes. You know what's funny about this, though? Eve, do you remember that documentary we watched? And the guy was like just batshit crazy, but it got into this thing about the one hospital was doing organ harvesting or some crazy shit.
And that was like real.
And then and then they were like selling it. They were like selling it out the back of the hospital or something fucking wild. And the whole time the people were like, "No, that guy's fucking crazy," and he was fucking crazy, but turned out to be true, right? This is RFK Jr. Our findings show that hospitals allowed the organ procurement process to begin when patients showed signs of life, and this is horrifying. The organ procurement organizations that coordinate access to transplants will be held accountable. The entire system must be fixed. Must be fixed to ensure that every potential donor's life is treated with sanctity it deserves. Yeah, process to begin when patients show signs of life is crazy. Here's the HHS. Under Sec Kennedy's leadership, HHS is restoring the integrity and transparency to organ procurement and transplant policy by putting patients' lives first. These reforms are essential to restoring trust. But it does stem from the fact that apparently people who were very much alive were having their organs taken out of them. Now, to what degree? I don't know. A heartbeat, I think, is usually how you determine that.
Well, we're just clumps of cells, David. Not made in the image of any creation.
Just a clump of cell with a heartbeat, Ryan.
Clump of cells with a heartbeat and consciousness. Nothing else has consciousness. Well, the plants are alive, So are the elephants. They got to have legal rights. My dog's got to have health insurance because it's a citizen.
Good enough to be aborted, good enough to take their organs.
Fucking fuck, dude.
Living people had their organs stolen.
Yeah, it's happened. New York City doctor found with his hands in a patient because he was fucking stealing his shit and selling it. And here's the thing, just like the black guy getting punched in the face because he doesn't trust police, you're going to try to release this information, and all the trust you're trying to restore is just going to make us hate the system even more. And I thought today, again, I seen the shit about the economy. The only reason these people actually care about money is to fuck kids. My 401k is so that they can buy pedophile islands. I'm convinced. But that could just be a homophobic rant there, David.
Well, a rainbow rant. What you need to do is wait for the facts, Ryan.
I'm not waiting for the facts, David, when I'm ahead of the algorithm. I am the algorithm.
You have to wait.
Building this ChatGPT in real time. I'm pushing machines to the lengths of their fucking combined capacity of all of the information that's ever been collected together in the human collective unconscious and conscious. Fuck out of here. I'm not waiting for the facts. Dave and I are 10 years ahead of the curve. It's not fair. It's not fair.
You have to wait for the facts that come from the government that created the facts, that then source their facts to news articles that they run, news companies they run.
Yeah, just like I'm going to vote my way into freedom. You're out of your fucking mind. I'm going to vote my way out of slavery, out of modern slavery. From global elites that have digital tracking on every man, woman, and child, and unlimited money, and underground bunkers that can live through a Jewish space laser. Only 800-watt laser, David.
Does that sound like something that slave masters would do in the slave trade days, Ryan? They let the slaves vote if they wanted to be free. Seem plausible.
Might as well let them eat cake, right?
Put your hand up if you don't want to be a slave anymore. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's everybody.
All right, no more slaves.
You guys are free.
Guys are free.
You do believe in this premise, which is what we believe, that the government is expansive, but it's worse than you think, because not only is it expansive, but it's controlled by a smaller group of elites that dictate what everybody is going to do. If you think that group is going to allow you to vote your way into prosperity, into freedom, into not being global slaves, out of child pedophile rings, if you think they're going to allow any of that out of foreign wars forever, then I don't know what you're planning on. And this is
here's what I thought about today, David. I went and I bought a product at Gabe's. And all I thought about is how the people behind the counter are fucking drones because they hate their life. And I thought, why would these people hate their life when 20 years ago, when I was 8 and 9 years old, I go to the store and it seemed like everybody was happy. Now, maybe I'm just fucked up and that's just not the way it is. But I generally think that people appreciated shit more because it was easier to get along. It was easier to get along. You could get by on like 1.5 incomes. If one of you worked and then the other worked like 10 or 15 hours, you could get your kid off the bus. Money. You wouldn't have to pay for fucking all this extra schooling. Everybody didn't go to college. The clothes were like hand-me-downs. We all were okay with hand-me-downs till like you got old enough that you should get your own clothes, which was like high school. That's like the way it was. Everybody like rode their big brother's bike until they got a car, which was the old family car, not a brand new car. And I realized it's the Overton window. It's the Overton window of the transition of traditional values into corporatism. We talk about it all the time. You know, I'm greedy like everybody else. I want shit too. But, you know, at the point, David, we're at the point, I want money to be free from the system. It's actually like a double whammy. I want to like try to use capitalism to get free of capitalism in a weird way. But
we want capitalism to be free of cronyism.
Yeah, it's just the Overton window to like tradition. Like, look, I bet you if you were to ask all the girls that were at there, if you had a couple kids and you were at home right now and your husband was working and you could come home and you guys could like fucking just live your life, a lot more people be a lot more happier. You know, and I think everybody got caught in the rat race, obviously. You know, it was real easy when you could get a home
I need to.
that you couldn't afford on 20% interest because it looked cool, and you wanted to show off to your neighbors because they know that because they spent millions of dollars studying psychology at a governmental militaristic level so that they could transition it and call it marketing so that people in the private sector could monetize your time and attention and your data and take it all from you without you even knowing because they told you it wasn't important and that your clump of cells in that family doesn't matter because, you know, a Cadillac is cool.
Slightly misogynist, Ryan. The idea that women would want to stay home.
What I don't understand
Blatant
is
misogyny.
that, like, Dave, I sent this to you the other day. When the average man built the world, the average man could survive. Like, when our grandparents built this shit, they were like farmers. Jimmy Carter was a fucking farmer, and he became president. Our grandparents worked in factories and went to war and came back and just worked at a factory and built a house with his bare hands and left it for his grandchildren. Now we're like engineers build the world. Capitalism built the world. Data built the world. The dorks built the world. The internet built the world. Electricity built the world. And look at what it's doing. The people that don't know those things are getting left behind. Like the new Stone Age is now. What do you do?
Ryan, are you in for one more quick thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, there's two other funny things too, but I think this is interesting. This is legitimately interesting. By the way, when they have these hearings, these government hearings, they must be really fucking thirsty.
Is Warren Buffett sponsoring this fucking Senate hearing with this Coca-Cola?
Yeah, she's not. She's not doing it right. She has the can turned in the wrong direction. She's not very good at marketing, Ryan.
Is this guy about to be sweating? Is that what's happening?
Just observe, Ryan.
You're telling this committee that the Biden administration, while they were letting all of these unaccompanied minors into the country, and as we've talked about today, they weren't keeping track of them. They issued these kids a hotline that they could call if they had trouble with the sponsor family that they were put with. And you're saying that 65,000 calls to this hotline designated to protect these kids went unanswered? Is that what you're telling this committee?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know how many staffers the administration assigned to answering these phones and helping these kids?
One.
One staffer? Any idea how many hours a day this staffer was working?
No.
Maybe that's why there were 65,000 calls that weren't answered from these little kids, huh?
Does that sound intentional, or does that sound? Is that just Veep? Maybe people in the government just aren't good at staffing correctly. This is
like when Hitler,
87,000 additional IRS employees.
Yeah, this is like when Hitler would fucking make propaganda reels, and he would have the same Nazi soldiers just drive around a small city block, and then he would only show the one angle, so it looked like he had this endless horde of fucking vehicles. This is the Wizard of Oz. Yep, we're going to set up I'm sure Biden somewhere said that we're going to set up a hotline to help these migrants, and everybody's like, yeah, sure, set it up. It sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, all the people that voted for it.
Yeah, set up the hotline. He didn't say that one person wouldn't be doing their job. Not to mention, be those children. Hey, here's a hotline. You're fucking 9 years old, don't know English. Here's a hotline. Call mi hablo. Call telefono. They call and they just sit there and cry while they're getting molested or something on Fuck Island.
And lost.
Then you're going to tug on my heartstrings. David, they're going to tug on our heartstrings. I need more of my money, and they're going to implode our borders.
Meanwhile, they're causing the crisis by importing.
Meanwhile, the cause of Christ is funding the cartel and the drug war.
So let's just go back to some of these numbers. There was one staffer on this hotline. Okay, one staffer, and the one staffer, they don't even know how often he worked, so he could have worked 1 hour a day. Nobody fucking knows.
Hey, they them, David. You don't know their gender.
They them. With that said, 65,000 calls went unanswered means 65,000 children who were here without parental guidance means 65,000 that were here without parental guidance having trouble with their quote sponsor families. 65,000. Meaning, even if you had, I don't care if you had 100,000 people on the staff and you answered all the calls, 65,000 kids were here illegally, potentially being harmed. And maybe they were harmed intentionally, and maybe that's why they were here illegally. If you want to get real fucking dark, why were they here? Can't release the files, though. All these 65,000 kids, so you could probably fit a few of them in 10,000 hours of
That's
footage.
a good point, David. They know all of this other data. I'm convinced the world, David, because think about it, I'm not kidding you. All these rich people just want to fuck kids because you know what? Why do men do what they do, David? Let's be honest. Tate's talked about this, and I believe him. All those egotistical men, what are they doing? What's Elon Musk doing with all that money? He's trying to pay girls to have kids. That's all they care about is their name, the amount of people they leave behind. Full disclosure, I come from somebody kind of like this, so I understand. The most braggadocious thing my dad has is that he has 7 kids. My dad's reproduced more than most men in the history of all time. My dad's outproduced 99.99999% of men that have ever lived. Like my dad wins biologically, right? And he's a nobody. Imagine him having $1 trillion. That one guy, remember he had 100-something fucking kids we covered on the program?
Mm.
So, like, what's the ultimate default, David? You know, what's the whole red pill space? Oh, we want virgins, David. What happens when you can buy virginity, David? Didn't they used to buy virginity in the old days with cows and chickens and lambs and lords and titles and armies and ships?
Trading your virgin daughter for the
I had to be sure she was a virgin, Dave. How can I be sure, though? Well, I kept her locked away in a tower. That's where all those myths come from, right? That the Prince Charming climbs up and saves her. It's weird how all those things are just Veep, right, David? All those myths are just Veep. Yeah, I genuinely, the peak and the pinnacle of all these dudes is they want all these castles so that they can just fuck underage kids while they're in their prime, while they're in their youth. They get them the closest they can to that adrenochrome cap, David. If the Egyptians were doing it, these elites are doing it. There's nothing new under the sun. And just like that, Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us on Rumble with Eve and Sam for the greatest podcast in human history. As always, David, I appreciate you most for your time, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, man.